What's going on, you guys? It's Keith Carnes here, and welcome to another episode of Unsolved Disappearances. This time we are talking about the disappearance of Etan Patz. Now, before I get into this very disturbing and detailed case, I want to go ahead and thank Travis's For Real for requesting this, recommending this to me, and bringing this case to my attention. If it wasn't for him, I would not be doing this case. Probably would have either A, I would have done it at a very later date because I would have found it on my own, or B, I would have never found it and thus would not have been able to cover this very, very interesting case. So with that, thank you very much, Travis. I appreciate it, and let's get into it. So Etan Patz was born October 9th, 1972, and was declared legally dead in 2001. He was an American child who was just 6 years old when he disappeared in the Soho neighborhood of Lower Manhattan, New York City on May 25th, 1979. He is the best-known missing child from New York City. His disappearance helped spark the missing children's movement, including new legalizations and various methods for tracking down missing children, such as milk cartons campaigns of the mid-1980s. Etan was the first ever missing child to be pictured on the side of a milk carton. So, Etan was pretty much like the original missing child in some sorts of the way. Of course, he wasn't the very first child, but he was the child that really helped. His disappearance really pushed, new laws to be put in place, more strict laws, and the whole milk carton campaign of the mid-1980s was a great idea. Anybody that bought milk, which is pretty much majority of people out there in the world, they would buy milk cartons and they'd have Etan's face on it. So if they had any information, his face was right there staring you back as you made your morning breakfast cereal or something like that. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to talk about the actual disappearance here. There's a lot of information with this case, so if you want to read it yourself, I will go ahead and link it in the description. There's just a lot, and I can't really cover it all in this video because I don't want to make this like a 40-minute video and bore people, because let's be honest, me talking about this for 40 minutes is not exactly the most entertaining thing in the world. So it says disappearance. On the morning of Friday, May 25th, 1979, 6-year-old Etan Patz left his Soho apartment by himself for the first time. He was only 6 years old. That's crazy. He was to walk 2 blocks to catch the school bus at West Broadway and Spring Street, and he wore a blue captain hat, a blue shirt, blue jeans, and blue shoes that day. He never reached the bus stop. So, I mean, you think about that. That's only 2 blocks. It's not far at all. So his parents probably had either, I would hope that his parents had no choice but to send a 6-year-old by himself to a bus stop. But if they had a choice and they just made him walk, then shame on them. But if not, then I feel really bad for these people. They probably had to go to work, they probably couldn't stay home and take him to school, and they had to make him walk by himself. It's just too bad. And it's like just just 2 blocks, and whoever kidnapped him definitely knew his routine, definitely was stalking Etan before he actually took the kid. It says when he did not come home from school, when school ended, his mother called the police. An intense search began that evening using nearly 100 officers and a team of bloodhounds. The search continued for weeks. At first, detectives considered the Patzes as possible suspects, but quickly determined that the parents had no involvement. Massive search involving neighbors and police covered the city, and missing child posters featuring Patz's face, but resulted in few leads. Patz's father, Stan Patz, professional photographer, used a collection of photographs he had taken of his son in the effort to find the missing boy. His photos of Etan were printed on countless missing child posters and milk cartons, and they were projected on screens in Times Square. So definitely New York City definitely took this by the reins. They definitely did not spare any expense. They went to the they went all out to try to find this child, but obviously were very unsuccessful in doing so. And then the last part, I'm actually going to talk about this. I'm not going to go into the case being reopened and all this stuff because it's very, very long, and like I said, it's not really that interesting. I'm just reading the most interesting parts of this. So, an uncharged suspect, 1980s, 90s, Assistant United States Attorney Stuart R. Grabois identified Jose Ramos as a convicted child sexual abuser who had been a friend of Etan Patz's one-time babysitter as the primary suspect in his disappearance after receiving the case in 1985. Some boys had accused Ramos of trying to lure them into a drain pipe where he lived in 1982 in the Bronx. When police searched the drain pipe, they found photographs of Ramos and young boys who resembled Patz. Boys eventually found out that Ramos was in custody in Pennsylvania in connection with an unrelated child molestation case. In 1990, Boys became deputized as a deputy state attorney general in Pennsylvania to help prosecute a case against Ramos for sexually abusing other children, to help obtain further information on Patz's case. When initially questioned by Boys, Ramos stated that he took a young boy back to his apartment to rape him on the day Patz disappeared, and that he was 90% sure it was the boy he later saw on TV. Ramos did not use Patz's name, however, and claimed he had put the boy on a subway. So he's basically admitting that he did take a boy back to his apartment the day that Etan disappeared, and admitted to raping a young little boy, and then but then says, I didn't kill him though, I just threw him on a subway. Okay, dude. While Ramos was incarcerated, a fellow convict of his who became a jailhouse informant told Boys and FBI agent Mary Gillen in '91 that Ramos told him he knew what happened to Patz, and even drew a map of Patz's school bus route, indicating that he knew that Patz's bus stop was the third on the route. So this guy definitely did it. There's no question in my mind whatsoever. So then it goes on down here to say Etan was declared legally dead in 2001. Ramos was declared responsible for Etan's death in 2004 in a New York civil case, but remains unprosecuted. Ramos denied responsibility for Etan's death. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't kill him. You just fucking raped him. Well, like that's any better. And then you threw him on a subway, right? Etan's parents, Stanley and Julie Patz, pursued a civil case against Ramos. They were awarded a symbolic sum of $2 million, which they have never collected. So they're not willing to take money. They're like, no, we want this motherfucker prosecuted. And you know what? Good for them. Ramos served a 20-year prison term in the state of correctional Dallas in Pennsylvania for child molestation. Jose Ramos was released from prison on November 7, 2012, and then promptly arrested on Megan's Law violation. This guy's a piece of work. It says, every year on the anniversary of Etan's birthday and disappearance, Stan Pants sent Ramos a copy of his son's missing child poster. On the back, he types the same message, quote, "What did you do to my little boy?" End quote. That's very heartbreaking. So here we have, this is just a fucked up case. And once again, I want to thank you again. Travis is for real. I want to thank you very much for bringing this. This is one hell of a case. I don't know how it slipped under my radar. I should have already had it on my to-do list, but I thank you very much. I'm very happy you brought this to my attention because this is one hell of a case. I didn't expect when you asked me to do this that it would be this interesting and this in-depth and this sad, that, you know, this little boy who was obviously completely innocent, 6-year-old boy, was taken, and God knows what was done to him, and God knows how he was killed, and God knows where he is, where his remains are. You know, this guy was definitely responsible for what happened to Etan, and they really need to do something about it. Unfortunately, they're never going to be able to do really anything because of all the legal bullshit here in America. And they just don't have enough to prosecute him with. I mean, the guy has admitted to, you know, molesting multiple boys. There's photographs of him with boys, but yet he's still being released from prison. Why is somebody like this being released from prison? This guy should have at least life sentence, if not a death sentence. This guy is a very, very dangerous and sick and twisted child predator who not only does this, but has no intentions on stopping it with everything that he's done. And I think that Etan Patz is his most infamous victim, and I think that he definitely knows exactly what happened to Etan. I do believe that Etan was the boy he took to his apartment. I believe he did rape the boy, and I think that he did kill the boy, and he did something with the body so good that they were not able to find the body. And instead of admitting it, because that would put him behind bars forever, he's just admitting that he may have raped Etan, but he didn't kill him. I just put him on a subway. I'm sure you did. That makes no fucking sense. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up here. This video is kind of on quite a long time. Thank you so much, Travis, once again. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to my subscribers. I appreciate it. You guys can leave in the comments below what you think about this case. Remember, I will be linking it in the description so you can read everything on it. It's very interesting. I highly suggest you do. And, of course, just like what Travis did, if there's a missing case or anything you want me to talk about or review or react to, leave it in the comment section below of any video. It doesn't matter. I will see it, and I will give you guys a shout out. This is Zeke Carnes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next.